it develops the methods to repair the damaged cells or tissues. As the goals of both regenerative medicine and rehabilitation are same by like those are to restore function and promote healing. So the regenerative rehabilitation, it optimizes clinical and patient outcomes and enhances the tissue organ function and to reduce disabilities and to increase quality of life. As I already told, the regenerative rehabilitation therapy, it evolves as a combination of regenerative medicine and physiotherapy. So regenerative therapy targets mainly on the cause of the pain by triggering the healing process, whereas physiotherapy, it improves the recovery. Uh, for suppose if there is an injury happened, then they introduce some stem cell therapy. The regenerative rehabilitation, it introduces stem cell therapy, then regeneration happens. Um, with with physiotherapy and rehabilitation, it improves the regeneration. The introduction of mechanical forces to promote tissue healing, it is primary treatment used by the physiotherapy. As we so okay, mechanotherapies in regenerative rehabilitation, it activates specific biological responses in musculoskeletal tissues by enhancing the integration, healing, restorative capacity of the cells and tissues. Regenerative medicine. Regenerative medicine, it again combines of both tissue engineering and molecular biology. Here, tissue engineering, it is in this they combines all the cells and tissues and they reproduce a functional tissue. Like so, this rehabilitation, no, regenerative medicine, it combines both tissue engineering and molecular biology to regenerate the human cells for restoring the cells to the normal function. Musculoskeletal conditions which benefits from regenerative medicine. So injury-related conditions use repair process to heal these conditions, muscle strains, ligament injuries, and tendon ruptures, and osteochondral defects and non-united bone fractures. These are the injury-related conditions that exhibit compromised healing, and this volumetric muscle loss and segmental bone defects. These are also the injury-related conditions with little prospect of healing. And sarcopenia, osteoporosis, and osteoarthritis, these are the disease-related conditions which will be benefited by the regenerative medicine. And these are the few examples of some regenerative therapies. These are the introduction of stem cells, biologically active molecules, and implantation of bioengineered scaffolds. Regenerative medicine, what they do, they introduce stem cells, biologically active molecules, and bioengineered scaffolds. They introduce these. The main goal is to restore the tissue function, organ function, and healing basically. Musculoskeletal regenerative rehabilitation. It is same as regenerative rehabilitation. It also combines both rehabilitation and regenerative medicine. And the main goal is to restoration the function and regeneration and repair of the musculoskeletal tissue, as it is a musculoskeletal regenerative rehabilitation. Mechanotherapy. So any intervention that introduces the mechanical forces uh, uh, with the goal of altering molecular pathways and inducing the cell response, it improves the tissue growth and modeling or repair. So the mechanical forces, it directs cell activities influencing the tissue adaptations. Adaptations like growth, modeling, remodeling. Here what happens, the external stimulus, the mechanical forces which are so the mechanical forces which direct cellular activities to induce tissue adaptations. These forces generated that loads the tissues influenced by the mechanical properties of the tissue. Here the characteristics of the tissue forces, it is depends on the ability of the tissue to resist the force, and these forces are transmitted to the cell that is influenced by the cell mechanical properties, and this cell modifies mechanical environment here via the cytoskeletal rearrangement. And when the cellular forces are sufficient, then the cell initiates the molecular response, and then the mechanical properties influences the tissue forces. Physiotherapy intervention in musculoskeletal rehabilitation that introduces mechanical forces, either the forces that are generated extrinsically, that is via intervention as it may be the mobilization or any modalities, or intrinsically within the individual as we give the exercise prescription. Mechanotransduction at cellular level. So mechanotransduction, it is basically the conversion of mechanical forces into molecular responses. Cells can be exposed to the variety of mechanical stimulus. It depends on the mechanical properties of the cells and interaction between the, so any signals that comes to the cells through the extracellular matrix. It mainly depends on the mechanical properties of the cells or the interaction between the incoming mechanical signals and extracellular matrix. So the common stimuli, we all know the stimulus, these include tension, compression and shear, and the mechanical stimulus, hydrostatic pressure, vibration and fluid shear. The micromechanical stimuli with which musculoskeletal cells are exposed, like how it acts on the cells. Tension, it is a pulling force that increases cell dimension in the direction of the pull. And while compression, it pushes, it is a pushing force that decreases the cell dimensions in the direction of the push. And shear, it is the parallel force which are acting in the opposite direction. It pulls the cell in the opposite direction. And here hydrostatic pressure, which is exerted by the fluid that changes the cell volume. Vibration oscillating, it vibrates the cell, back and forth shaking of the cell. And fluid shear, the force created by the flow of the fluid parallel to the cell membrane. It is the flow that is created by the fluid. Mechanosensitive cells in the bone. So coming to the, by understanding all those forces, mechanosensitive cells in the bone, these are predominantly exposed to the compression, and tendons are exposed to the tension. That is depends on the functions of the tissues. Here the long bones are curved and bent when axially loaded. It generates compressive forces within the tissue. So these long poles are curved and bent. When axially loaded, it generates compressive forces within the tissue. When the bone is bent toward the tensile forces within the contralateral side. Here what happens that bone can be exposed to either compressive or tensile forces. By understanding the forces to which or the by knowing the how well the cell is able to respond and exposed to the forces, we may be able to develop new ways to introduce the force that get desired cellular response. By encouraging the commitment of endogenous adult stem and progenitor cells to a particular lineage, it enhances the regenerative potential. The reciprocal relationship between the cells and tissues during the development, where the tissue type influences the forces to which cells are exposed, and while forces determine the cellular differentiation. There is a relationship between the cells and tissues, where while developing the tissue type that influences the cells, and there the forces that determine the cellular differentiation. Am I clear now?
Yeah, I think it will be better if we stop here and just go back. And if anyone is having any doubts till that, it can be asked, and then we can just move ahead.
Yes.
Can you go just slightly up? Yeah, I think this would be just a slide before this. No. From mechanotherapy, I think we can go. I think this part was slightly easier to understand. So anyone who have any questions up until this point of time, you can please ask.
Pranati, can you go to the next slide?
Yes.
Yeah, can you explain once more what exactly is happening from mechanical stimulation to molecular response and how it is a cycle?
So yes, while giving the stimulus, obviously there will be a response. How it happens, this stimulus, if any force happens, it is loaded to the tissue. It depends upon the tissue mechanical properties.
Okay, I'll just explain it, Pallavi. So what they're basically telling is when you're going to apply a mechanical stimulus, say for example, from outside you're say compressing a tissue, that is, or you're stretching a particular tissue, right? Now what happens is that forces exert the mechanical stimulus, what you're giving from outside, exert force on the tissues. Now, how much the tissue will yield to that force or change to that force depends on the mechanical property of the tissue. For example, it's very easy for us to pull out a ligament, but to pull out a tendon, it's going to be slightly harder. So it depends on the amount of force you give, and the force to which it responds depends on the mechanical properties. In a similar way, the force which you have given, which acts on the tissues, will eventually be acting at the cellular level, right? So when you see a tendon, it consists of multiple types of cells, right? So the forces will eventually go on to the cells. And these forces, when you tell a cell, inside the cell, there are many components, right? Like your endoplasmic reticulum, you have your mitochondria and other structures, right? So these forces will eventually go and influence your molecular your cells, right? And these cells in turn will start responding to it by producing a extracellular matrix, that is new components which can help in either building or degrading the total structure. Okay, how this tissue forces are going to cellular force and how they are going to influence the molecular response is what we will be trying to understand in further slides. But basically what it's telling is by exerting certain mechanical forces, you are influencing the cell to start working differently. That's what they are telling. Is it clear, or you require any further explanation?
Yes, sir, it's clear now.
No. Okay. Can just move ahead to the next slide.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So generally when we are giving physiotherapy, we know that we apply different types of forces to the tissues. It could be when you are stretching, or when we are giving a strengthening exercise, we are exerting some stress to the muscle. When we are making them do a weight bearing exercise, we are exerting a force to the bone. Like this, we do things. So all these forces will eventually be acting on these cells. That's what we're trying to do. Can you go ahead? Okay, so they are primarily telling us the forces which we apply. There could be different types of forces which we are applying. Of course, we are conscious about certain forces. We are not conscious about many other forces. All right. So, so yeah, the previous slide, yeah, no, the one with the picture. So these are some of the forces which normally a cell undergoes. Right. So anyone is, are all of you clear about what are these different forces? Do you have any doubts regarding any particular force? Okay, if people can understand, then we can just can go on to the next one. Yeah, no, the previous one. Yeah. So what they're trying to tell here is whenever you have, whenever we do a weight bearing exercise, say for example, after a fracture, we are going to bear weight. We normally think that we are going to give a compressive force to the bone structures as well as the joint. But what we also don't recognize is when we are trying to give a weight bearing, if the bone is not straight and if the bone is slightly bent, then what will happen is it will try to bend the bone. So when it's bending the bone, what will obviously happen is on one side where it is longer, elongated, that's on the convex side, the same compressive force will become a tensile force, or tension is pulling out force. Okay. And on the side which is concave, you'll be having the other force, right, which is compressive. Right. So, so what they are trying to tell us, when we are trying to um, give mechanical force to the body, it might not actually happen like how we think, because of the anatomy of the structure as well as the architecture of the structure. It might slightly change and it might give other things. So when it comes to providing a mechanical stress to the structures, right, they say that we may need to understand something more deeper than our superficial understanding of what forces are being exerted. Next slide. Okay. So also it has been observed, what they tell is also it has been observed that when cells are there initially, we call them as progenitor cells. Progenitor cells are the cells which are undifferentiated. That is what cell it has to transform, that is not known. And normally in a human, we have many different types of cells and everything will have its own kind of progenitor cells. But some cells are differentiated yearly right? That is, some cells will form into vascular tissue, some cells will form into muscle tissue. But there are also a group of cells which might not actually be differentiated yearly. So what they are telling is, when we are applying certain forces, these forces will also make the cells to differentiate in a particular manner. And I think we are also not aware about what type of forces will lead to what type of cellular differentiation. So that is something which we may need to learn again. Okay. Can go on to the next one. Okay. Right. So we actually, how I plan is, when we have 9 o'clock, it's very late and some people might not be very comfortable. So we thought we'll have just a half an hour session each time, and we will try to read about it. That's what is the whole idea behind it. So since this is the first time, what we'll do is we'll just go a little bit further on, and then we will close the session. Pranti, I think you can just talk about the next slides.
Yes. So recent studies have told that the altering of the stiffness of extracellular matrix, it directs the stem cell differentiation. If there is any increased stiffness, and it directs differentiation to the tissues and including cartilage and bone. So stem cell differentiation is nothing but it multiplies. Okay, here the stem cells are forced to attach on small fibronectin islands. Those are nothing but the proteins. Those are the proteins in a cytoskeleton. And later on, the cells are attached to the larger islands and had elongated morphology with these other homolog gene family. Okay, these are also the protein. Okay. And still many studies are conducting towards the generating synthetic extracellular environments capable for directing the stem cells to regenerate the specific tissues. By introducing a physical stimuli to the engineer may enhance their regenerative capacity. The final goal is to regenerate specific tissues and regenerative capacity. Cells of the musculoskeletal system, it possesses transmembrane receptors which are called integrins. These are the integrins. These connect the extracellular matrix to intracellular matrix, which consists of actin and myosin filaments. These two are the actin and myosin filaments. And again, if any change happens in the extracellular matrix, then there will be a disruption of cellular mechanical hemostasis. The formational changes within the cytoskeleton directly alter the chromatin structure and thus modulate gene transcriptional activity. It happens via direct connections between the cytoskeletal elements and the DNA. So as the cells are attached to one another via cadherin containing adhesion complexes, disruption of cellular mechanical hemostasis of the cell may be, it may be transferred to the other neighboring cells. So, what is it?
Yeah. Pranati?
Sir.
Should I explain that? Okay. Can you just go to the next slide? Yeah. So what they are basically trying to tell is, they are telling that there are certain proteins which are called as integrin. You can see here the alpha and beta integrin. Now, in between, you see that there is a green color structure, right? That's the cell membrane which is there. And you can see this integrin molecule is traversing, that is passing through from the outside of the cell to the inside of the cell. And outside it is attached to proteins, for example, collagen and other structures. And inside it is attached to certain molecules. You can see here talin, vinculin, SRC, and things like that. So what they are basically telling is there is a connection between extracellular and intracellular. So whenever we give a mechanical stress, as we saw before, there are different kinds of forces which are there we are giving. The integrins will convert the forces and transmit it into the cell. Now the cell itself is being kept in a particular form using the intracellular skeletal architecture. For example, how our body shape is determined by the bones predominantly. Similarly, the cell is also maintained in its shape by something called as a skeleton. So it's called a cytoskeleton. So what happens is any force you give outside can be easily transmitted inside the cell. And what they are telling is this force, which is transmitted inside the cell, can further be transmitted to the nucleus of the cell where DNA is there, and DNA may be able to start producing new proteins. And that's what basically they are telling. I think further on we can just explore it, and Pranti will be throwing more light onto that. Okay. So yeah, I think we can, Pranti, would it be fine if we stop here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. All right. So,
Pranti, I have a doubt here.
Huh.
So, can you go to the previous slide?
Hmm.
No, the previous one where you started. Yeah, here. So, you on the right side you've mentioned altering the stiffness of
Yes,
the
yes.
extracellular matrix, right?
Hmm.
So, I'm a little bit confused here. What exactly is the stiffness of the extracellular matrix? Like the adhesions, by that you mean the adhesions of the component of the extracellular matrix, or
the force which we give, like external stimulus.
okay,
so it's basically when you understand stiffness, you should not be thinking in terms of that it's tight or something. Basically, in the extracellular side, that is outside the cell, there are many cellular structures, right? You have collagen, these are fibers, correct? So like this, many other structures are there which maintains a certain stiffness to the cell, to that particular tissue. For example, if you take a tendon, it is having a particular stiffness, right? So,
yes, sir.
so they are basically trying to tell about these the regular normal stiffness of the tissues,
Okay,
right? And it's not, it doesn't mean an artificial increase in tightness between the cells. That's not what they are trying to tell. It is a
okay.
normal stiffness which is there. So basically, when you are trying to give a force, this stiffness will change. That's what they are telling. And how these forces are being transmitted inside the cell, and how inside the cell work, they start changing the functions. That's what they are trying.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, so if you don't have any other questions, I think we can stop here. And it was very nice that Pranati has just divided the slides neatly. It went one after the other, one step after the other. So I think we'll stop here without delaying much, so that we can just go ahead and do our works. And what I would tell is, I would want everyone to please ask more questions wherever you are having doubts, so that it will be clarification for everyone. Okay, and others can give you a feedback about it, so that if we can just improvise the presentations or things like that, so that's more understandable. So any final comments or questions? Okay, if it's not there, we will just close the session. The plan is we'll be having a half an hour session on 2 days in a week, preferably today and day after. So we'll be going slowly about it, but we'll be consistently working on this. And it's not necessary that within one session you need to complete a whole article or things like that. The basic thing is, since these are new areas, it will be better if we go on slowly, but we learn solidly. So that's the whole idea. So if others, since this is the first session, you might be slightly hesitant to give your own feedback, but please do feel free to give the feedback so that we can improve these sessions further. Thank you all for joining. Anything else? Pinky ma'am, Rajna ma'am, Krishna ma'am?
Sir, I think even Pranati, she would be fine and comfortable if she can say in her own words each slide.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
It would be easy for her to
yeah.
what she have got from each slide. She
Oh,
can
yes, ma'am.
explain that. That will be, maybe it's easy for you to explain then, I hope.
Okay, we'll do that. Anything else? Okay, fine. If it's not, we'll just close the session. Thank you all for joining. We will meet day after tomorrow at same time, 9 o'clock. We'll meet. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Pranati. Thank you, sir.
Pranati, I can just stop sharing. It was really good session. And put the slides were neatly, so please continue that.
Yes.